That's Mika.
Thank you.
Mika, you look like you could do with a bit of feeding up. Would you
Did
like...
you make them yourself?
Well, they are homemade. I can tell you they are homemade. They're buns of mass.
I'm getting a muffin from Terry Wogan. Go figure. It's a nice way to start a Sunday, don't you?
Yeah, I hope so. It's a sort of pre-prandial jelly baby.
Thank you very much.
But, yeah.
Actually, I'll have one of those. Those I like.
Yeah. And we do a lot of interviews with people chewing at the same time. So glad that you've got Mika on as a guest. Wish him well for the second leg of his European tour. And with a kick-ass single. Yes, that's with this new movie. There's been a lot of controversy about this. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
Well, of course you have.
Well, I saw the movie before it came out, and they asked me by the end of it, they said, do you like it? I said, yeah, it's so wrong in every way, and that's why I think it's brilliant. And they were like, okay, good, can you write us a song? I said, sure. And I said, well, how long do I have? They said, 2 days. And I laughed, and they were serious. So I went away, and I came up with a song, and I actually quite liked it, so I offered it up, and they accepted it. A lot of songs had been rejected. So Matthew Vaughan, the director, who also wrote it, was one of the co-writers. He is very picky with music. So the music's fun in the movie.
Yeah, everybody thinks they know everything about music. He's only a film producer, okay? What does he know?
That's exactly what everyone was saying to him.
But it's such a...
And so he went, yeah, all right, you're fired.
Yeah. That's such a subjective thing, music, isn't it? Everybody thinks what they like, everybody else is going to like.
Absolutely.
What about you?
What do I like? Or what do I think?
Everything.
Yeah, well, I think I know everything. And I'm completely full of delusions, when it comes to music. And I think that's important, because as soon as you feel insecure about music or about your musical taste, that's when it gets really boring, isn't it? You have to think that what you're listening to is the most exciting, important, momentous thing in the world, right? Because that gives you that feeling that you have when you're a teenager, when you're a child listening to music, and that's the most important thing that's coming out of those speakers. As soon as you lose that, you get kind of jaded.
But do you think, you're a very young man, do you think with the advancing years, and I speak as a very old man, do you think with the advancing years that kind of enthusiasm can evaporate?
Well, you tell me.
I never had the kind of talent you have.
No, it's not. Music. But when you listen to a piece of music, do you get as excited? Can I just say something for a second? I know that you react to music because I was sitting in a hotel and I was in Leeds and I was on a really difficult promo tour for radio, and my song had just been playlisted on Radio 2, and it was Grace Kelly, and at the end of it you copied the line of the end of the song and you went, Humphrey, I'm leaving. And I was like, it's gonna be okay.
I always thought it didn't sound in the least bit like Grace Kelly.
It was me. It's me going, the last time you spoke, Mr. Guard, you reduced me to tears. I promise it won't happen again. It's like, and then I wonder why I couldn't get on radio in America.
I think you sound more like Betty Davis, really.
Thank you, that's better.
Now, your latest album, The Boy Who Knew Too Much, which came out in September last year. 2 million copies. Your sales are about 8 million.
In total,
when you started off, because you started all over the place. You attended Westminster School, you attended the Royal College of Music.
After being kicked out of a few others before that. Sorry.
And then not at all. It's the story of all our lives.
No, but because Westminster School accepted, I was really, I got a couple D's, and they only accepted me because I could do music, which was quite good, because most fancy schools would never touch anybody who was...
How did the music start with you? Was it your parents?
It was my family. I come from a family where my mother is a dressmaker. We grew up with thread. Everybody in my family, brothers and sisters, are in the arts. We come from a family of 5 kids. I was born in Beirut, evacuated a year later because of the war. Grew up in Paris, and living in a studio, really, in a clothing studio. And then I started to do music. But then I moved over to London when I was about 8, 9, and I got thrown out of school. And I didn't go to school for a year because I was dyslexic and I couldn't read or write. And no school wanted... Well, my mother lied to the local council and she told them that I was being home educated. In actual fact, all she did every morning was give me piano and singing lessons and send me to the park on my own the rest of the day. And that's what I did for a year. I did that for a year, and it changed my life. And by the end of that year, I got a role in a Strauss opera at the Royal Opera House. And because I sang like a woman, my treble voice was so developed that it sounded like a woman's voice. It didn't sound like a little kind of Benjamin Britten style treble. It was like a proper
countertenor.
Yeah, more like a carabino or something from Mozart. A countertenor, exactly. So now when I sing, like you're hearing when I sing high, it comes from that. It comes from the extension of my singing when I was younger.
Do you know, you're one of the more interesting people I've ever talked to.
Oh, right.
Particularly on the subject of music.
Oh, and you gave me a muffin.